right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Daily December 2023. This is day 19. So, yeah. I got nothing for today. I'm still not feeling super great or anything like that. But I'm not trying to think how to phrase this. I want to try and make this something today. I'm not going to just make, hey, I feel like crap today. Here's my minute-long video. I have nothing set to talk about. Like, I do have a lot of different things I would like to talk about. Don't get me wrong. But, none of them have coalesced to a point that I could create a coherent video about them. And my brain, if you hadn't guessed already, my brain is not working right now. And it's really, really annoying because I actually... One of the things I thought about doing... So, I guess I can talk about this. For my Fabula Ultima game, again, a lot of my kind of runtime in a day is going towards my Fabula Ultima campaign. This is some of the most work I've put into a mini campaign before, and it's mostly just because I can do it. Like for my Power Rangers campaign last time, most of the work that I put into that was more on the kind of back end, meaning I wrote lore and I created magic items or their power weapons and I created encounters and stuff like that. But it was all stuff that I did behind the scenes, and then actually running it. The most kind of visual work that people got to see was I created an overlay for it, and that's it. Now that I have access to Photoshop, and I just kind of brought a program out of mothballs that I haven't used in years, I'm trying to add kind of a more visual flair to my my RPGs, which I plan on bringing to my regular D&D games once this is all over. Again, the entire point of Daily December is for me to try new things, and I'm finding that with the right tools, I'm actually enjoying a lot more of the stuff that I used to really despise. And most of that had to do with the fact that I was using either tools that were not really designed to do what I wanted them to do, or I was just doing things that I'm not good at. For lack of a better term, just I was really bad at, and doing stuff that you suck at is never generally a lot of fun. I guess some people have fun doing stuff that they're really bad at, but kind of having to fight against your own nature is a pain in the ass. So, yeah, I just kept having these man, my brain is just completely gone, guys. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is I'm now, like, as soon as I'm done with this video, I've just opened up a program called RPG Maker MV. Why am I doing that? Am I making my own RPG? No. The funniest thing about RPG Maker MV is I bought it because I thought it'd be fun to make my own RPG. I love RPGs, and MV had everything I wanted to make an old school, like, Super NES era RPG. Like, I was super pumped about it, and I understand nothing about how RPG Maker works. Like, I do not understand the coding behind it. I have never made a single anything that could even be remotely considered operable, much less playable. Like, playable hasn't even gotten into it. I have not created a single thing that could be considered an RPG asset. Other than, before I got Inkarnate, I would use RPG Maker NV to make battle maps. If you watch Realms of the Wild, like midway through the campaign when they were in the, I think they were in the Courage Realm, dealing with the Goron City. One of the maps I actually made for them to fight on, I made directly in RPG Maker, and then the map where they first met Arel, that was made in RPG Maker, and it makes maps that look like they're from old school Super NES RPGs. And so that's what I used to use, but they have a very, very distinct visual style. And I found Inkarnate, and the style was better, and it worked better for me. I could freehand things, and there was a lot more that I could do in Inkarnate than I was ever going to be able to do in RPG Maker. However, Fabula Ultima is meant to replicate those old school RPGs. And if you haven't watched the latest episode, slight spoiler alert, at the end of the episode, they do go into a set of ruins that they're going to be kind of dealing with over the next in the next session, which is tomorrow. And so I could narrate everything. I could just flat out do I could just flat out kind of do a who's you what's it. Man, brain is just gone, guys. I could do it all narratively. Like, I don't have to actually have a map for them. And I'm going to have to do some weird things anyway with how it's streamed. Because if we stream my view is the GM's view. And so they would be able to see a lot more than I would really want them to be able to see if they look on that. So I might have to play around. I might just like futz with like the zoom for the view and just kind of zoom it in really far so that the audience can't see more than I want them to be able to see. But that'll be something that I have to mess around with. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna be I re-download the program because I'd uninstalled it because I hadn't been using it since I got Inkarnate. So I reinstalled it. I got a couple new tile sets for it. Not sure if I'm going to use any of them, but it seemed interesting and fun. And so yeah, like I think it's going to be fun. I think the players should enjoy it. Those that actually remember old school RPGs, I think will get a bit of a kick out of it, and then everyone else may or may not enjoy it. Who knows? But yeah, it's been weird. Again, back when I did conventions and stuff like that, I actually used to actively avoid using maps and minis, mostly because I had some really bad interactions with min-maxers, which the D&D Adventurers League is built for min-maxers. It really, really is. And the reason I say that is something that a lot of people don't understand is when the more rules you create, the more you encourage min-maxing. Because min-maxing is all about the idea of taking advantage of the rules that exist and finding ways to make the rules interact that they're not supposed to. And that's the whole point of min-maxing. The less rules you have, the more difficult it is to min-max. Specifically because, again, min-maxing is designed around, okay, I'm going to break these rules. or power gaming, I guess. Min-maxing maybe depends on how you define it, but power gaming, min-maxing, I'm using those terms interchangeably. You're trying to find ways to get around certain rules by using other rules that seem to contradict. And the more rules you add to a game, the easier that is to do. It's one of the reasons why D&D 3 and 3.5, and especially Pathfinder First Edition, you are almost effectively required to min-max your character. And in the Pathfinder Society, which is their organized play program, Pathfinder Society almost requires it, to the point where I have had friends that have sat down in a Pathfinder Society game and have brought a character that was not optimized and have been kicked out of the table before the game even started. I had a buddy of mine, he actually used to be my DM. He sat down at a Pathfinder Society game and he was going to play a cleric. But he was playing, I think he was playing a gnome cleric or something like that. Again, I don't 100% remember because this was like 8 years ago, something like that. Time is hard, folks. So what ends up happening is he sits down and he has this cleric. And first of all, he's chosen the wrong race for his cleric, because all races have kind of inherent bonuses. And for a cleric, you want something that gives you wisdom bonuses, bare minimum, because wisdom's your most important as a stat for a cleric. And his particular character didn't. I think it gave an intelligence bonus. And so that was their first problem. It's like, well, why did you go with a gnome? You could have done this or this or this, and it would have been a lot better. You should probably change it. He's like, no, I've got this really cool idea for the character where they're this gnome and they're kind of an outcast, and he kind of just starts pitching his character, and they're like, oh, no, don't do that. Why not? It's my character. It fits in the lore. No. And here, let me look at your sheet. And they sat there and they said, well, why did you take this cantrip? This doesn't make sense. No, you need to not take this. And you don't have this spell for your first level spells. You have to have this spell. And they basically started kind of trying to rewrite his character sheet. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. His character's perfectly fine. It's not going to be useless. It's just not going to fill the traditional cleric role. And that's perfectly fine. There's no, it's not. Get out of the table. You're going to get us all killed. And that was the end of it. It's one of the reasons why I have large problems with Pathfinder in general, because of the fact that it's so over designed and there are so many rules. It doesn't just reduce creativity, because I mentioned this before. The idea that structure and limitations can actually inspire creativity to a point. If you put too many rules and too much structure in, you will actually limit creativity by quite a bit. And Pathfinder First Edition, there were so many rules that there were certain builds that were just not viable. And you just weren't allowed to play those because they just wouldn't work. And Pathfinder Second Edition, from my understanding, again, I literally have right here, I can't get it because there's other books on top of it, but I have right here the Second Edition core rulebook. And what else do I have there? I have another massive one. Oh, and the bestiary. I have them sitting right next to me. I have the PDFs of them. I've looked through and I've read the Pathfinder Second Edition, the original core book. They just released a new version where they do everything that they can to kind of separate themselves from D&D, because Pathfinder Second Edition was still extremely based on, like, Pathfinder First Edition is Dungeons and Dragons. Pathfinder Second Edition was Dungeons and Dragons with an accent. Like, it really didn't change a ton, other than, well, we have 3 actions, and it's just actions, so moves and actions, and there's no major or minor or nothing, they're just, you have 3 actions, and different things require a different amount of actions. And that fucked up their action economy massively, and so they had to make these really weird rules to prevent people from completely destroying the game. And so, yeah, it's an over-designed mess of a game. But my understanding is there are still quite a few builds that are just not viable, and you just can't play them. even in Pathfinder Second Edition. I don't know about the new reflavored version of it that removes all the D&D references. That I have no idea about because you have to pay to look at the new stuff right now. Somebody in my comments section in one of my other videos mentioned that they're going to release the new rules in a place where you don't have to pay for them eventually, because that's another thing that annoys me about Pathfinder is technically most of the rules, if not all of the rules, are available for free. But they make it so difficult to find them and understand them that you're kind of required to buy the books. And don't get me wrong, the books are gorgeous. Like the Pathfinder Second Edition core book, other than the fact that it is a massive freaking book, like it's like 400 plus pages. It's a huge book, but every page of that book is just gorgeous. It's amazing. And they do put a lot of value into those books. But Pathfinder and Paizo as a company they've done a lot of really nasty stuff, and continue to just do really, really borderline unethical stuff to their employees and definitely to their customer base. So I'm generally not a fan of them. But so yeah, anyway, the idea of just putting more and more rules in just makes it easier and easier and easier to min-max. And the D&D Adventurers League 5th edition has plenty of rules to make the game playable. But the D&D Adventurers League, in order to make things fair, imposed a bunch of additional rules on it. And it caused min-maxing to just flourish for the first few years that it existed. Like, everybody was trying to use these massively broken builds and stuff like that. And most of them didn't work because they required you to not understand how rules and words work. And it was just, it was not fun in quite a few situations to deal with that. I can't remember how I got onto this to the topic for the life of me. Again, my brain is literally fried right now. I'm barely sleeping because anxiety is super fun. And so yeah, I don't know why I was talking about this, but anyway, so now I'm making cool stuff for Fabula Ultima. And I'm going to try, and I will probably redo a few of my overlays just because I can so much easier now and I can make some really cool stuff. And I already use maps as much as I want to, but I want to do more. I just want to do more stuff to make my live plays a little bit more interesting. Like, I've actually looked into what it would take to get like a custom chat bot made, which that is so far beyond my capabilities. It's painful, but it did kind of seem interesting and cool to me to find better ways for chat to interact other than just through channel points. And I'm constantly trying to find ways to just make my actual plays more entertaining for people. And it takes a lot of work. But this Daily December this year has been really great in just allowing me to kind of really focus on that, because I have nothing else kind of planned for Daily December. It's this, and I want to get at least one discovering new dragons, designing new dragons grouping out, but I have no idea if that's going to happen, especially since we're like more than halfway through the month and I've done nothing. So I don't know, we'll see. But hopefully I'll have something more coherent tomorrow. Today was just me rambling about nonsense. So if anyone's still watching this, thank you so much. If you have stuff that you would like to see me do, put it in the comments down below. Otherwise, again, that's all for me today. I will see you guys in the next time. All right? Bye-bye.